I know many of you are not excited about the bibliography part of your research paper, but this is going to be an explanation of what's expected and why it's important and why you should be excited about it. First of all, I want to sound like an old lady. When I was your age, I had to use this MLA book and a typewriter and then figure out where the semicolons. These days, you guys, all you have to do is go into the word processor and go up to the top where it says references, and it will ask you, do you want to use APA or MLA? You will use MLA for this research project. And there it will help you differentiate whether it's a book or whatever and the information needed, and it will plug it in for you. Well, isn't that great? So now you can spend more time on what's really important, and the kinds of resources that you use or find is part of critical thinking. And that's what this whole research project is about, is to get you to think. All right. So go into it. This is an analogy. I don't usually have good analogies, but I think this is a good analogy. I want you to go into it pretending like you're a detective. All right. And if you're Sherlock Holmes, you would want to find out as many areas that intersect with your issue and then check them all out. You will interview the different sources. You will find out if those sources are valid and reliable, right? Check their alibi. Are they trustworthy? And this is key. You're going to keep the paperwork part of it that all policemen hate, is you're going to keep a list of all those resources. Later on in a cold case, you might find that that list shows one that is actually more helpful than others. But this list of all possible resources is your bibliography. They all count if they're valid and reliable. You're going to keep track of them, all right, in your handy dandy word processor that will help do that for you. You think, well, how am I going to find all these resources? Well, actually, your resources help you find more resources. So you find one good resource. Let's just say the history of, you're going to want to see if there's any legal history. There's the science part of it, the historical part of it, whatever. You find one good resource on one of those. Then you look into those footnotes and the bibliographies for that resource, and that will open you up to a lot more, which will lead you to another book with other resources. Now, are you going to read all those resources? No, but you can list them. That shows that there are other credible resources that the reader can look to verify that what you're saying a perspective is true in this case, and is a valid and reliable concept. So yes, you can find a lot of resources by looking into others' bibliographies and footnotes. And this is the difference between a bibliography and a works cited. A works cited is just the works you've used. You just cite the works that you're actually using. We're doing a good bibliography. Okay, it's not an exhaustive bibliography, but it's going to be a good one. And each area perspective that you address, whether it's the legal, the historical, the scientific, the psychological, the Catholic perspective, whatever it is, you're going to want to have a pretty good set of resources. You don't want just one opinion to back up your point. That's lazy and not good detective work. Okay, you need to make sure that that one opinion or whatever is backed up, okay, and that it's logical. You're wanting to be able to stand up in court, so to speak, so you need to really look at the number of resources you have and to show that it's credible. For Catholic primary resources, I will be focusing on this, and I'm a great resource for you on this. You're going to, I bet I could find 10 church documents for whatever topic you're going to address. And you think, what? How do I find that? Well, you will. I just noticed a typo in there. Sorry. Vatican.va, USCCB are great websites that have the church's official statements on different things. You could do a search a topic search on any of these things, and it will come up with a list of documents for you. If you look in the Catechism of the Catholic Church and you look at their endnotes, they might have endnotes in that particular section of whatever research you're doing, and those footnotes are going to lead you to more resources. So it's very easy once you figure out how to start going down that rabbit hole. It's pretty easy, and I can help you if you haven't been able to understand what I was saying here. But you want to use primary resources, what the church actually says, not secondary. You might use one or two secondary, that's fine, and they will lead you to more resources. But say if Father Larry writes a really great letter, all right, that's not a primary resource. He'd be first to tell you that. He's not the official church statement on it. He might be right, but he doesn't count as an official statement. So getting the church official statements from either Vatican, VA, USCCB, they will have it all there. Okay. And then lastly, this is one of my favorite tools that some of you may not know or use yet, but if you stay in school long enough, footnotes are your friend. Footnotes, as you're writing, a lot of times you'll have a thought, but you're like, it just sounds so repetitive. I put it there, it ruins your flow. This is where you can put comments, informal comments in your footnotes. I just cut and pasted something from the internet here, but if you start paying attention to other books' footnotes, some of them are actually informal. It is this writer's opinion, da 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 da. Some of them are the resource that you used or that you quoted. But I really encourage you to use your footnotes well, to experiment with them, to add extra commentary in your footnotes. And then as you start looking at your sources, look to their footnotes. And in your footnotes, you will find a wealth of information. I know that sounds kind of geeky, but it's true. And I bet some of you will start doing that and you'll realize, footnotes are my friend. Okay, so any more questions on the bibliography and footnotes? Of course, you know you can ask me.